guys all good to go?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jack Stolzheimer. I'm the District Attorney of Delaware County, and I'm proud to be here with my friend and partner, Governor Josh Shapiro, and some other dignitaries who are very important to the work we're doing here in the city of Chester. My friend, State Representative Carol Kazin, my good friend, State Senator John King, and we're also joined by Mayor Stefan Roots and by the Commissioner of Police here in Chester, Blackwell, Katrina Blackwell. I just want to say a few remarks before I turn it over to the governor. My first day as district attorney back in January of 2020, I began working to fulfill a promise I made to the people of this community, that I would do something about the out-of-control gun violence that's been plaguing Chester for so long. Those of you who don't know Chester, it's a very special place. It is the only city in the suburbs of Philadelphia. It is also the place where Pennsylvania began. It is Pennsylvania's first city. William Penn landed here. And for many of us in Delco, my family included, it's the place our American dream began. My mother came to this country as a 15-year-old Ukrainian refugee from a Nazi slave labor camp. The first place she ever lived as a free person in this world was here in the city of Chester. The city of Chester was much different in 1951. There were factories. There was a shipping yard. There were hospitals. Can you imagine that? And what's happened in the decades since then is American capitalism has stopped investing in places like the city of Chester and the people who live here. Poverty rose, crime rose. We became one of the most violent small cities in America. So when I decided to do something about that, I had to call the person I thought was the most powerful person I knew, my friend Josh Shapiro, who was the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. He asked me what I intended to do, and I said, well, I want to bring a collaborative, data-driven, community policing initiative to the city of Chester that I had worked on as a federal prosecutor. And Josh said, he's in. He was the partner that started the Chester Partnership for Safe Neighborhoods. Let me just tell you what he means when he says he's in. He's all in. He provided leadership. He provided resources. We got a detective from the Attorney General's Gun Violence Task Force. We got the state police when we were critically short of police officers in Chester. Thank you so much, Colonel, for that. And he's also, with the help of Senator Kane, given us $2.6 million in PCCD money to fund all of the work, the community projects we're doing, as well as the law enforcement work that brings this all together. Just to put it simply for everyone in Delco who will understand what I mean, what Governor Shapiro is to this program, he is our Howie Roseman. He is the guy who has brought the resources.
That's an overstatement.
Well, we haven't won the Super
Howie's the
Bowl.
GOAT, man.
But we've done really well with the resources you brought us. The people behind me have done the work, and I just want to highlight for you a couple of things, Governor. This year, each of the last 5 years we've been running our program here in Delaware County, we've significantly reduced the number of gun homicides. This year is the safest year probably in decades, probably since my mother lived here in the city of Chester. The number of gun homicides are down by 74%. The number of gun incidents, shootings, are down by 65%. That 5-year run and the success we've especially had this year has made this the most safe stretch we've had in the city of Chester, literally in decades. And if I just want to highlight one thing for you, one more number, Your Honor, or Governor, is that number 0. Earlier, I want to show you how I'm spending your money.
Yeah.
The mayor and the commissioner came to me at the beginning of the summer, and they said they were a little concerned about the summer. They wanted some community activities. They wanted to put extra patrols out on the street. I took some of your money, people let me repurpose it, and we put that on the street here in the city of Chester this summer. That's how many gun homicides we had this summer, Governor. 0.
Amazing.
It's
Awesome.
absolutely incredible. I just want to say that it is the work of everyone in this room, my staff, Matt Krause, Aaron Bergen, Tanner Rouse, the Commissioner, Chester Police, but especially the people in the community who have embraced the work we're doing under the governor's leadership to make this one of the more safer communities in this region. And Governor, I just want to say this has been the work of my life, as you know. I am so proud to call you a friend, a partner, and I know that you are the governor who will never forget the people of Chester. Thank you so much.
Thank you, District Attorney Stolzheimer. Let me just say, Jack's words were beautiful. I think Howie will be insulted, but his story is the Pennsylvania story. And to know that his Pennsylvania story can trace its roots to the same exact place where William Penn landed when he had a vision for a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that would be warm and welcoming for all people. From Jack's mom to others from all different walks of life. That is the beauty of Pennsylvania, that we are a place that is open to all. And it is right here in Chester where it all began, where William Penn landed. I think it is important in these times to acknowledge just how critically important it is to have open arms for all people, for all Pennsylvanians. I think that not only creates more dignity and more freedom in our communities, it also creates more safety in our communities. And so I am here today to talk about the important gains that have been made here in Chester. And while I so appreciate the kind words of your great district attorney, I would say it's the local community here, the local leaders, in concert with law enforcement at every level, who have done yeoman's work to put us in a position where we could see these numbers, or in the case of that first one, the lack of numbers when it comes to safety in our community. I need to say a special thanks to Mayor Roots for his strong leadership. Been a lot of challenges in Chester. Mayor Roots is a calming force, and we appreciate the opportunity to work with him. Commissioner Blackwell is having a real good run here with these numbers. Keep it up, Commissioner. Thank you. And I want to say special thanks to Senator Kane and Representative Kazim, because when we deliver dollars and we deliver resources to this community, it means that they took a vote to appropriate those dollars and put it in a position where we could deploy those dollars into places that need it most. And so I want to thank each of these leaders for doing their important work, their part, to help being able to deliver for Chester and all of Pennsylvania. So I want to say thank you both for your partnership. And I just want to single out two individuals on my team, the Colonel of the Pennsylvania State Police, Colonel Christopher Paris, who you'll hear from in a moment, and my general counsel and person who used to be my right hand in the Attorney General's office, Jen Selber, who joins us here. And in many ways, it was her vision together with the DA who led us to this point. So Jen, wonderful to have you with us. You know, I have known Jack for nearly 2 decades, and I've worked closely with him on a whole bunch of initiatives. I think the one maybe we're most proud of is what we've been able to accomplish here in Chester together. I recall when I was the Attorney General of this great Commonwealth receiving that call from Jack. Chester was facing significant challenges in a number of ways, but particularly when it came to being able to ensure the safety and well-being of all the children walking down the streets here in Chester. Jack asked me to come and listen and learn from the folks who were on the ground, and then he asked for help. He put together the plan. He had the vision, and we were proud to support him every step of the way. Remember what it was like back then. Crime was way up. Chester had one of the highest per capita murder rates, not in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but in the entire country. Jack and I both believe that every Pennsylvanian should be able to both be safe and feel safe in their communities. Be safe, free from violence. Feel safe. Know that when the police show up in your community, they're there to protect you. They're there to work together with you. Being safe and feeling safe. I think public safety is a core foundational responsibility of any leader, and I will take a backseat to no one when it comes to public safety, particularly here in Chester. So when I took office, I made a point to continue to work with Jack and local leaders here in Chester to develop and implement a plan. Let me tell you specifically what we did. As Attorney General, we deployed our gun violence task force and our strategic response team, which we created on my watch under the leadership of Jen Selber, to be able to support law enforcement here locally. We made a commitment to not just show up as the Attorney General's office and take over, but most importantly, to work collaboratively with the folks on the ground like Jack and others who know best what Chester needed. In 2020, we launched, as you heard, the Chester Partnership for Safe Neighborhoods. We brought everyone together, everyone around the table, and it worked. From 2020 to 2024, at a time where we were seeing rising violence in communities all across America, Chester saw a nearly 15% decrease in violent crime. As a result of the initiative that we launched together when I was AG, we reduced the numbers of shootings by 50% over the last 5 years. Let me be clear, I am not taking credit for this. We are all in this together. Every single person up here and those who are represented share in the success that we've seen in Chester. And so do the good residents of Chester who have reclaimed their neighborhoods and said, we do not want crime here. We do not want violence here. And we're gonna all work together to be able to address that. This was a multi-pronged approach, and it was a well-funded approach in order to address it. I believe we have to invest in law enforcement at every level and invest in our communities at the same time if we're going to create safer, more prosperous communities. That was the basis of our partnership here in Chester. And I want you to know it is the same strategy that I've employed as governor of this Commonwealth. I learned a lot from our success here in Chester, and now we're using Chester as an example to the rest of Pennsylvania on how we can reduce crime. Think about that. The city that nearly led the nation in per capita homicide rate is now a model for other cities and other communities across Pennsylvania on how we can work together to reduce crime. I want you to know that back as AG, we focused like a laser beam on reducing crime everywhere. We closed the ghost gun loophole. We arrested 330 gun traffickers. We took 3,200 crime guns off our streets. And as governor, we're building on that success. We've worked hard to be able to fund the hiring of 1,500 more police officers across our Commonwealth, 800 new state troopers under the leadership of Colonel Paris, and supporting the hiring of 700 municipal police officers all across Pennsylvania. And that includes 29 officers right here in Chester that we're proud to support. At the same time, Colonel Paris has focused our state troopers on supporting the work with Chester Police with joint operations and targeted enforcement. That is working. I said before, investing in law enforcement is important. Investing in the community is critically important as well. I'm proud of the fact that we've also invested $600 million across the state to address and prevent violence in our communities, and those dollars are largely driven out through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency under the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis. And we've made a point to ensure that a whole bunch of PCCD money makes its way right here to Chester. You're going to hear from Derek in a few moments. He's received some of that money in a community-based program that is really, really working. We're proud of him. I think we need more sports programs and after-school programs and church groups and mentorship groups and school programs and other things that are going to help make sure children have an opportunity both before school and after the school day to go into an activity that they love and that keeps them from picking up a gun or engaging in activities that are harmful to them and harmful to our communities. I'm proud of the fact that, as you heard before, we've driven out nearly $6 million to this community around here, including the Boys and Girls Club in the city of Chester. So we're going to keep investing in law enforcement, and we're going to keep investing in the organizations that work. And I want you to know that it's working not just here in Chester, but all across Pennsylvania. Since I took office as your governor, we've seen a 42% decrease in fatal gun violence across Pennsylvania. And crime overall is down 11% across our Commonwealth. Here in Delaware County, violent crime has decreased even more, thanks to Jack Stolzheimer and his terrific team and the great work that they are doing here in Chester and across Delco. We are grateful for their leadership, and the numbers speak for themselves. They are doing a tremendous job right here in Chester. I'm grateful for the collaboration, and I think this collaboration is an example of what we need more of, not just here in Delco or across Pennsylvania, but indeed all across the United States of America. We need to support local law enforcement. We need to trust local law enforcement. And we need to continue to build bridges between local law enforcement and the community that they police. We need more police officers, but they need to be properly trained. They need to look like the communities that they're sworn to protect. When they walk the beat, they need need to know the names of their neighbors. They need to feel like it is one large community. I think now more than ever, we need locally driven solutions to violence prevention. We need to be careful about those who would come and try and impose their will on communities from the outside. I know that there is a lot more work for us to do here in Chester and all across Pennsylvania. These statistics are extraordinary, but I've also grieved with too many families who have been victims of violence, who have an empty seat at the dinner table because they've lost a loved one. Telling them that the statistics are heading in the right direction isn't an answer that they can bear. And I understand that, which is why we gotta keep working at it. We've made tremendous progress here, and we're gonna keep making progress. I'm gonna continue to invest in law enforcement here in the city of Chester. And in addition to that, I want you to know that my administration is going to invest in the economic growth and development of this community. We are working on a comprehensive plan right now, working with your mayor and others to make sure that state investment can flow right here into the city of Chester. We know how important that is. We know that the long-term sustainability and viability of this wonderful city, this historic city, this city that helped William Penn start it all, we know that you deserve more, and we're gonna be there for you every step of the way. So I'll be back soon to talk more about our economic development investments, but I wanted to be here today to celebrate the great work that Jack and all the law enforcement leaders up here have done. We got a lot more work to do, but we're heading in the right direction here in the city of Chester. I talked before about the great power of partnerships. One of those power of partnerships, the great example of that is with our state police working with City of Chester Police. And so it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Colonel of the Pennsylvania State Police, Colonel Christopher Paris.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for being here today. I'd like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to Governor Josh Shapiro, Delaware County District Attorney, Mr. Derek Billups Sr. of the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, as well as the Mayor and the Commissioner of Chester. It's an honor to stand alongside so many dedicated individuals who share a common goal: to strengthen public safety and build safer, more resilient communities throughout our Commonwealth. Public safety is not merely a priority, it's a profound responsibility that each of us in law enforcement takes seriously every day. When people feel safe, everything else becomes possible, from education and economic development to neighborhood stability and trust. It requires coordination between law enforcement, community leaders, service providers, educators, and families. When we all work together with a shared goal of safer, more stable communities, we achieve more. Across Pennsylvania, we've seen the impact of that collective effort. Firearm-related deaths have declined, gun violence has decreased, and overall violent crime continues to fall. These trends represent more than statistics. They signify safer streets, fewer lives lost, and greater peace of mind for the communities we serve. Much of this progress is rooted in strategic, sustained investments, not just in law enforcement, but also in prevention, outreach, and youth engagement. Programs that offer positive opportunities for young people, build trust within the communities, and tackle the root cause of violence are essential pieces of the public safety puzzle. As Commissioner of the State Police, I'm particularly proud of the investment made in the State Police by the Governor. We've received funding to train and hire 800 troopers. This initiative ensures that our force remains strong, professional, and prepared to address the evolving needs of our communities, not just today, but for generations to come. All of this adds up to a simple but important truth. Public safety is a shared mission. It's not just about enforcement. It's about prevention, partnership, and preparation. It's about building lasting trust between law enforcement and the people we serve. And most of all, it's about producing real, tangible results that communities can see and feel. I want to thank Governor Shapiro for his leadership and continued investment in public safety. I also want to recognize and thank the officers, troopers, and local agencies and community partners across Pennsylvania who are doing the work every single day to help keep our neighborhoods safe. We will continue to move forward with purpose, grounded in our mission, and committed to the responsibility that we carry. It's now my honor to introduce Mr. Derek Billups, Senior, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning. Ms. Kazim, Senator Kane, District Attorney, Mr. Governor, and my friends, Commissioner Blackwell, and Mayor Roots. I just want to take this opportunity to say, you know, it's funny how successful we can be when we really don't care who gets the credit. And so, with me, I'm the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. Chester has been, and the Boys and Girls Club has been a staple in this community for over 95 years. We're excited about it. We're excited about the things that we do for this community over and over again. And with the support of the governor, with the PCCD program, it has helped us continue to extend our program from Friday evenings to Saturday afternoons. So now we have the opportunity to help our young men and young ladies for now an extended period of time. Friday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and from 12 noon to 6 p.m. So we have an opportunity now to continue to support our youth, give them a safe place. It is not just the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. It's a lot of community organizations that support the city of Chester over the years, not just us. So it's a collaborative that we work together, we continue to support our youth. And with the support of the state, the governor, our city, our mayor, and our commissioner, we continue to do that day in and day out. 12 months of the year, we're there. We're open all day, 7 days a week, supporting. And with the support of the state, our city, our local government, and our community, we continue to do this. And we're proud of the things that we do. Again, for 95 years, the Boys and Girls Club of Chester has been supporting this community, supporting our youth, and doing the things that we believe we need to do in order to allow our kids to be the kind of young men and young ladies that support this community and support this country. So I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm honored, Governor, the DA. I'm honored that you give me the opportunity to speak about the Boys and Girls Club of Chester and the things that we do and we will continue to do. And again, not just us, but a lot of community organizations do here in the city of Chester. Thank you. I have the pleasure now of introducing my friend, the Mayor of Chester, Mr. Roots.
Thank you, Mr. Billups. Good morning, everyone. This is an exciting day. We're really here to celebrate some great results when it comes to crime reduction year over year. The numbers speak for themselves on both sides of the board. I'm not going to reiterate any of those. The partnerships that we have with all of the organizations represented by the individuals here is extraordinary. I think the guy down at the soccer stadium, the president, Tim McDermott, always says if you're rowing in the same direction, you're going to get to where you're going to get to, and that's what you're seeing here. The results are amazing. We've celebrated and identified a lot of the reasons why this success is occurring, from the governor's office down to the county, down to our own police department, our nonprofits. But one of the groups of people that often get ignored and need to be recognized, and I'm here to do it today, is the people who live in the city of Chester, the residents themselves. They have a new attitude now. They see the help that's coming in, and they realize how important it is that each and every citizen contributes to the safety in their own household, in their own community, in the schools. And we're seeing it now. Residents are coming to the police officers and giving information to the DA's office, to the state troopers. They're making sure that their children are safe by enrolling them in programs that are being offered throughout the city that we're promoting very strongly. We're seeing that they're caring for their kids in the schools, showing up at the parent-teacher meetings, looking at the report cards and helping with homework. We're doing our part by tripling the amount of school crossing personnel out there to make sure that they get home and get from home and school, very safely. So all that contributes to a good community. None of these guys up here voted for me, but the citizens of the city of Chester voted for me. And they voted for me because they wanted to see a change. And this demonstrates change in a very short order, and they are responding in kind. We can't do this alone as a city. The help is here, but it's the citizens of Chester who have been ignored for so long, who have been abused, who have been just violated on so many levels, whether it comes from housing or just what they've experienced. But now hope is here in Chester, and I just want to make a special note to recognize the citizens of Chester and their contribution to the results that are happening in their own community. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of these folks may have voted for you, I don't know. We can talk to them after. If there are any questions, we're happy to take a few. I'm sure the DA is happy to jump in on any of these as well. Let's start with things regarding Chester. Yep.
Well, if we want to start with Chester, this one is maybe for the DA or the mayor.
Okay.
But it's just, you talked about the summer initiatives. Can you be a little more specific? Did that look like more police? Or just kind of what we did this summer that you think really
Yep.
contributed?
I'm going to ask the DA to.
Sure, we did two things. One is we put together an overtime detail that the commissioner and my deputy district attorney, Matt Kraus, oversaw. We put them in high crime areas, just not to arrest anybody, but just to let them know that we're there and they're not going to commit any crimes while we're there. We also spent a lot of money, Aaron, on some community neighborhood parties. We had things for kids. It was just wonderful. A bunch of us went to a few of them. But it was in part because the mayor, I think, rightly said, look, we don't always have enough things for kids to do to keep themselves out of trouble. So let's try to always balance the things we're doing positive in the community to make sure that they have things to do that are fun, with getting a message out that the police are here to protect you. And I just think it was so successfully run by the commissioner, by Matt, and by the mayor and by the mayor's staff. Just made a huge difference.
Anything else on this? Okay.
Governor, a couple
You can
quick
answer
things.
these too if you want.
A couple quick things on National Guard. I know you've been asked about
Yeah.
it before. In Philly, DA Larry Krasner, he's having town halls this week to, as he said, kind of prepare people if the National Guard were deployed here. I had two questions. Do you believe there's any imminent threat of the White House deploying the National Guard in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia specifically? And two, how does that process kind of work? Would you have to sign off on that? Could the White
Yeah.
House bypass you?
Well, look, I'm not aware of what the district attorney in Philadelphia is doing, so I really can't comment on that. Let me speak to the issues with regard to the Guard. First, if I can take the second part of your question, because I think it will help answer the first part. I'm the Commander-in-Chief of the Pennsylvania National Guard. I can deploy the troops of our Guard within the borders of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I've done so. Think, for example, if we have an extraordinary weather event and a community needs help, we might deploy the Guard there to support our communities. I can also deploy our Guard here throughout the country on a national mission that I think has critical purpose for Pennsylvania, or an international mission that I think is critically important. I've deployed our Guard to the southern border of the United States. I've deployed our Guard to the Horn of Africa. I've deployed our Guard to Germany, where they've trained Ukrainian soldiers in trying to push back on Russian aggression. All of that is on my command. There is a third way the National Guard can be deployed, and that is if the President of the United States seeks to commandeer the Guard and federalize the Guard, and then deploy the Guard at his direction. I think that it is dangerous when a Commander-in-Chief of the United States tries to usurp the power from the Commander-in-Chief of the state. It sets up a conflict, and we've seen that conflict play out in the streets of Los Angeles as just an example. It is my hope that it will not get to that here in Pennsylvania. I can tell you that we are preparing aggressively on that front. General Pippi's leading that effort for us with PEMA. Jen Selber's around the table, Colonel Paris, Dana Fritz, my chief of staff, and many others. We are prepared should the President of the United States seek to try and commandeer our Guard and deploy them on the streets of Philadelphia or anywhere in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are not aware of any efforts for them to do so. Final thing I want to say on this, back to the first part of your question, is if the President of the United States really cares about crime, he should come here to Chester and see how it actually works to reduce crime. And the way you do that is investing in law enforcement. The way you do that is investing in community programs that work. If the President wants to send us money to hire more cops here in Chester, I'll take it. If he wants to send us more money to hire more state troopers, I'll take it. We got the finest law enforcement agency in the United States of America here under Colonel Paris's leadership. So we're happy to take resources from the federal government. What we don't want is the federal government stepping in and making it harder to build trust in communities and harder to reduce crime, as we've done here in Chester.
Governor, can you talk a little bit about the, just some of the political violence and the conversations that we've seen, specifically after the Charlie Kirk assassination, around people that have spoken out about it, being retaliated against or being asked to step down? Can you speak to that?
You know, I spoke at length about the issue of political violence yesterday in Pittsburgh, and so I realize we don't have as much time here today, but I'd urge you to read my comments so you have a full picture of what I said. Let's be clear, political violence in any form is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to kill Charlie Kirk while he was engaged in debate in Utah. It was unacceptable to kill Speaker Hortman while she was in her home, and her husband while they were at home in Minnesota. It was unacceptable to firebomb the governor's residence in Harrisburg. It was unacceptable to shoot at the President of the United States in a field in Butler. It was unacceptable to shoot a CEO of a healthcare company in the back because he disagreed with how our healthcare system is run in the United States. Political violence in all forms is unacceptable, and it makes us all less safe. Because the goal, of course, of political violence is to try and silence speech, to try and inject fear in communities. And I think we need to all stand up together and clearly and unequivocally recognize that there is no place in our society for political violence. And let me also be clear, we have seen political violence on the left and we have seen political violence on the right, and it is all bad. It is dangerous when one like the president cherry picks which forms of political violence seemingly are okay and which are not. That further divides America. We need healing in America right now, and we need every single leader to speak and act with moral clarity. I think when it goes beyond that and gets to the heart of what you asked about people losing their jobs and other things, we are seeing something very dangerous emerge from the federal government right now. This notion of censorship as being the answer to political violence. More speech is the answer to what we are seeing out there. And what we need to do is have peaceful speech and allow the American people to engage with one another in constructive manners. Having the long arm of the federal government try to silence certain voices out there, that only creates more division in our communities, and that's dangerous.
Governor Shapiro, last night during a town hall, Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner referred to MAGA Republicans as, quote, fascist. In that answer, he also referenced Adolf Hitler. What do you make of those comments?
I mean, I think I answered the question. I don't know what Larry Krasner's doing, and I didn't see it. I'm happy to take a look at the video, and then I can give you a response to that. I'll just say in general, and please don't take it as a comment on that event, because I didn't see it, and I trust you, but I didn't have the chance to watch the video myself. Anyone who engages in name-calling, anyone who engages in rhetoric that divides us is failing the leadership test. I think we've got to make sure that we bring the temperature down, we speak to our fellow Americans respectfully, and that we're careful about the language that we use.
Yeah.
Let me just get the media. Yeah.
Why do I think people perceive Democrats as soft on crime? How would you answer that?
I'm going to take a backseat to absolutely no one on crime. District Attorney Stolzheimer will take a backseat to no one. You may have that perception, but I will tell you that the reality doesn't follow that. We're proud to support law and order, and we have the results to speak for it. You see that here. Proud of the fact that we're hiring 1,500 more cops across Pennsylvania. My commitment was 2,000. We're going to exceed that 2,000 during my first term. I can tell you that we have seen with the district attorney's leadership significant decreases in all relevant crime statistical areas. As I said before, we've all got a lot more work to do. But this notion that one party or the other owns this label of law and order, I think it's complete bunk. And by the way, just remember back on the president's first day in office, what was the first thing he did? He pardoned a whole bunch of people that stormed the Capitol and assaulted cops. That's hardly law and order. I'm proud of our record on law and order and justice in Pennsylvania. We're going to continue to do that work together and make real progress.
Last question here.
Just quickly on the political violence, you said we have to bring the temperature down. Are you confident that that can happen in the climate that we're in right now?
I am. But not because necessarily of what I've seen from leaders, but what I've seen from my fellow Pennsylvanians, my fellow Americans, who want to be better than what we've seen over the last week or so with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and what we've seen over the last year or so with the rising number of political violence incidents. You know, my family and I were victims of political violence. And what we saw in the immediate aftermath was just the goodness of people. How folks from all different walks of life came together and lifted us up in prayer and protected us and shielded us and made clear that this is not the kind of society that they want to live in. So while some of the politicians haven't figured it out yet, good people of Pennsylvania and the American people have figured it out. And so I'm always gonna bet on our fellow citizens to rise above the darkness and the noise and do good. It's what has happened throughout our 250-year history. We've always gotten better. We've always gotten more just. We've always gotten more right, and we've always gotten to be a society that is freer and better than the generation that came before us. We're certainly at an inflection point here, and I am disturbed by the conduct of some of the leaders across America, but I'm more hopeful than ever before because of the people that make up this great nation. Thanks, everybody.